Welcome back, everybody. It's that time again. What time is it, Kylie?
Intervention and detention time.
Intervention and Detentions podcast. Welcome back to another episode. We are up to episode 16. 16.
Who are you?
I'm Brad.
And I'm Kylie. You always forget that. You've been forgetting that lately.
I kind of just want to put it off a little bit. I think they know who we are by now. I mean, we're 1,000 downloads famous.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Someday I want to say, I'm Kylie and you're
Brad.
And we'll see if people are really paying attention. But we are back with another episode this week and another special guest with us. We're going to look at a day in the life of an elementary school nurse. And we have our very own nurse, Natalie, with us today. Say hello, Natalie.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for being here. And before we get into Nurse Natalie and let her tell us a little bit about herself, let's talk real quick. Kylie, share a little story about a visit to the nurse's office as a kid that you might have had. You were homeschooled, right?
No.
Oh, it just feels like it.
Feels like that because I am a daughter of a nurse and a school nurse.
Right.
To be shout out to Kathy Hermanson.
Shout out to Mama Nurse, and I'm married to a nurse.
And you're married to a nurse. So, an early visit to the nurse's office. I don't really remember. I think that I probably didn't go to the nurse because my mom, and Natalie's shaking her head. Yes, my mom, as a nurse, probably said,
"Don't you dare!
Don't you dare!
Yeah.
Don't even think about it.
Yeah, you better be bleeding, broken.
Even then, don't.
Yeah, put
just
some
don't
dirt
bother.
in it.
Yeah, just don't. So I bet I didn't even go to the office or the nurse's office at all. And my mom, she ended up being a school nurse, but she wasn't there when I was there, so I didn't go, which probably good because I probably would have gone to her office and cried every day.
Yeah.
So we know how that works.
I don't remember going to the school nurse often or at all as an elementary kid. I don't know if did I ever share the marble story here on our podcast?
Natalie and I know the marble story, but I don't think our listeners do. Brad, go ahead and throw that in there.
Really didn't have anything to do with the school nurse other than when I was in first grade, I was sick and getting ready to go to the doctor with my mom and waiting on her to get ready. I was playing with these marbles, kind of laying back on a bed, put one in my mouth because, that's what you do with marbles, right? And down it went. And so you got to let it run its, course through your body, basically. So when I was in first grade, instead of going to the school nurse, my grandparents lived right across the street from the school. My first grade teacher would walk me to the side door of the school, check Highway 9 both ways. I would run across Highway 9, meet my grandma, go to her house.
Is that real?
Yeah, for real. And I would poop in a bucket because you had to see if it made its way out. So I did that for about a week, and it actually came out at home.
Nurse Natalie, are you just so thankful that you didn't, in fact, have to be his nurse?
Yes.
To check the
I said a nurse didn't have to mess
bucket.
with it. I mean, it was my grandma and my mom, and had to, I think they used, tongue depressors probably to, mash it up. And,
shout out to Grandma and Mom Tiger.
But I will tell you, the night that it passed at home on a bucket, you could hear it plop, clunk.
Oh.
It's like, Mom, it is out. And I still have it today.
And on that
Shout out to Judy Taggart for cleaning my marble and bleaching it and putting it in a little jewelry box.
Shout out to Judy Taggart.
I'll bring it in
Shout
tomorrow.
out to Sherry Taggart that she didn't have to do that. So
And she wouldn't have.
she wouldn't have,
She
for
would
sure.
have said it can stay in as far as I'm
And back
concerned.
to the episode. Let's reel
Let's
it
get
back.
back.
Let's reel it back in, Brad. That was a good. That was a heartwarming personal story
Sure
that you
was.
just shared. So, Natalie, give us a little bit brief intro about you, your role here at Central Noble, your nursing back. Give us anything you want. Go for it.
Okay. Well, I graduated actually from Central Noble in 2001.
Okay.
So I've kind of been a cougar my whole life. I ended up going to St. Francis, which is also Cougars.
Cougars. Go Cougars.
Go Cougars.
So graduated with my BSN in 2005 from St. Francis. Didn't really go right into nursing. Many don't know, but I have my pharmacy tech license as well, and I really enjoy doing that. So that's where I worked for over 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Before utilizing my nursing degree. But I have been married 22 years this year. I am a mom of 4.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, 4 almost teenagers in my house right
Wow.
now. So, but kind of crazy how I got my job here. Actually, the old nurse, Megan Esch, had asked me in one of her previous pregnancies if I would fill in. And I said, oh, can't do that. Have a nursery schooler that I take back and forth. So not going to work. Then I found out she was pregnant with another one. And I was like, hey, are you going to be doing a maternity leave? And she said, yeah. Do you know anyone? And I'm like, me. I'm finally ready. Yeah. So she's like, oh, yeah, perfect. So I was like, great. I'm going to get my feet into this, see, do a 3-month maternity leave, kind of see how school nursing goes. And that was one part in my nursing rotation in college that I actually didn't get to do, was school nursing. So I was like, hey.
I didn't even know that was a rotation.
I didn't know.
I was
How cool is that?
actually, I worked in a church. I forget what, like a holistic nursing thing I did. So anyway, I thought,
cool.
okay, that'll be cool. Anyway, did not know that she was taking like the entire year for her pregnancy leave.
Okay.
So started in September of 19 as a fill-in, and finished the school year. However, that is the year that COVID hit.
Really
And
good
we're going to
time.
talk about that
Really
today.
good time to get into school nursing.
So March of 20, we all know we closed for COVID. And I had asked, how do you want to do it? I really enjoyed it. Can we do part-time? Like, I'll go do part-time with a new one for you. And she's like, nope, I'm going back full-time. Okay, great. Just know I'll fill in. Well, 3 days before the school year started, I got a call at 10 o'clock that night, and she said, I'm really sorry, but I can't go back. So, do you want to take the job? And I'm like, I'm supposed to start tomorrow? And so, anyway.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, welcome
come on
aboard
down.
to school nursing. So.
Okay.
Wow, what an awesome journey that is.
that
And I
is
love
cool.
having the farm tech thing. I mean, that's really good
Yeah.
to know, too, from a medication standpoint, having that background knowledge as a nurse. I mean, I think nurses have a really good knowledge of medications anyway.
That actually just came up the other day. We had a student bring down a pill that they said, oh, mom or dad told me to take it if my stomach hurt. And it's like, we don't know what this is. So Natalie kind of knew what to look for, where to look it up. Kind of her background we were able to figure out it was okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Talk to the parents, those kind of things. But definitely.
Well, and we're super lucky here at Central Noble Primary and all of our buildings actually to have a full-time nurse.
Right.
That doesn't always happen these days because it's kind of like any other classified position where they, sometimes we don't have a PE teacher full-time or a
Right.
music teacher, and classified nurse, same thing. I mean, people get by with just giving meds, but there's a lot of kids that have needs, diabetics, epileptics and seizures and things. So yeah, we're lucky.
That was one of the cool things when I started here. When I found out we had one in every building, I'm like, really? Because when my mom was a school nurse, she had three different buildings, a junior high and a high school together.
Wow.
One in a different town that she was the only nurse for. So I was like, wow, we have nurses in all the buildings. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome for our kids and our staff. And
Yeah, we're very lucky. So let's jump into it now, the whole world of school nursing, especially at the primary level. And we always say, what does a typical day look like? We've used this with every guest, but I know every day is not typical. I should say, what does a atypical day look like for you as a school nurse? But maybe just give us a background of what your day-to-day routine looks like here at the primary.
So sometimes I have morning meds that I have to give, so take care of that in the morning. And yeah, you're right. There's no set typical day. Every day looks a little bit different. Different number of kids I see. And some days, that's 2 kids. Some days it's 20 kids. So kind of just charting, of course, is something that happens every day. Anytime I do see a kid, I do chart that. Some of that charting does require phone calls home to parents. And that I feel here at the K through 2 building is probably more of phone calls home than I would say maybe in some other grades, just because I don't know these kiddos yet, especially incoming kindergartners. I don't know. Some parents are like, oh, they're fine, and some parents want to know every time their kid comes.
And you'd rather be safe than sorry.
And I would.
Them.
And my thought is, if there's a kid gonna leave this building with something that they didn't come here with, such as a bruise or a big knot on their head,
A stone in their nose.
Yes, that is a phone call that I choose to make home, just to make parents aware of that. So,
and sometimes your days, sometimes you have other duties that you add in, not just nursing duties, right?
But also some other things that I do here. I do AED checks monthly just to make sure our AEDs are up to date, make sure I got, the pads aren't expired, make sure they're working correctly. A lot of times, I do my own vision screenings for second graders, but first graders, Lions Club, we team with Lions Club. They come in and do vision screenings for me on that. Kindergartners are supposed to be seen through a doctor for eye exams, but if parents don't do that, I go ahead and check them. I just feel it's important for kids to know if they can't see here at this, with starting reading and all of that comes with that. So
we appreciate that.
Yes.
I'll tell you from our standpoint.
Hearing screenings, and both hearing and vision are actually state required. So state pulls records at the end of every year to see if I followed and saying I have this many kids and this many kids were screened. I also work closely with the Noble County Health Department. We do immunization clinics for students. And then, of course, there is paperwork. Asthma kids, allergy kids, seizure kids, any other major medical issues. I have to have IHPs, which is individualized health plans for each, as to what steps I would take if an asthma kid came to see me, in their inhaler. At what point do I call the parents? At what point do I call 911? So we have that. And then lastly, we do a program with the dental program called School Smiles, which is a really cool program.
It's an awesome program.
They come in and we set up every 6 months, and anyone who wants to sign up signs up, and they do insurance for the kids, and they see the kids, and it's just a really cool program to get kids into the dentist. So
nice. We're lucky to have those programs, and we're lucky to have you again here to coordinate all that, because it is a lot.
Absolutely.
If we didn't have a full-time nurse, those
it would be hard.
Yeah, I think a lot of those things would get kind of brushed to the side. So, talk about what are some of the common reasons that students come and see you on a daily basis. I know the common ones,
the normal ones and the funny ones. And
right.
So here, I would say mainly it's belly aches. A lot of kids come.
So many belly aches.
And, trying to differentiate sometimes between what belly ache it really is. Are they hungry?
Do you need to go potty?
Yeah, do they need to go to the bathroom? All the questions we ask, do you need to use the restroom? Maybe some kid is just struggling with anxiety. They have a sub in there today. They're not used to that. So they're down 2 or 3 times. And sometimes it's just that extra little, okay, well, here's a heat pack. Unfortunately, I would say a lot of my kids are accident kids. They've not made it to the bathroom.
We do, right.
So we are doing a lot of,
especially in the beginning of the year, too, as kids are getting back into the routine of school.
So here's some new, not necessarily new, but here's some clean clothes to change into. And but those are probably, I would say here, my most common. But,
my head hurts.
Yeah,
I'm hot,
headaches
I'm
are
cold.
Still.
My throat
scrapes.
hurts.
Need a Band-Aid.
I would love if we have some nurse listeners to kind of chime in and send us what are some typical things in your building, because I would love to hear some high school, some middle school, even
or,
just what.
On the flip side, what's been the most obscure reason?
Yes.
Like I said, I mentioned a rock in the nose. I know we've had that since I've been here.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does that happen?
How did that even happen?
Yeah.
I don't want to know, actually.
Giving a spa is what I've heard before. Doing a spa treatment on the playground.
Okay. Wow.
I don't want that spa treatment, so I'm passing on that. Well, let's dive into COVID and how we don't want to, but that was a major part of your job, and all nurses, all school nurses.
Talk about a crash course into not knowing what to do.
Exactly, for everybody, but especially for you. So how did COVID and all that kind of change your daily responsibilities at school as a school nurse?
So it was kind of funny because coming in, like I had said before, I never had done school nursing. So now I'm in school nursing and boom, COVID hits.
And it's
a
pandemic.
Like, oh my goodness.
Welcome
so
aboard.
you didn't really know what was normal.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
Normal,
and, they joked like, if she sticks around through this, we're going to keep her because I don't know. But during COVID, it was rough, not gonna lie. There was days, and I feel everything changed. Mm-hmm. Now we're quarantining students, and we're doing close contacts, and it goes beyond the school building. It goes to who were you with over the weekend, and who were you sitting with on the bus, and now we're doing so many temp checks, because that was some of the things we, had to check for. And at first, I felt it was overwhelming because every sniffle, it was like, we got to send them home. They might have COVID, So just the number of kids that I was seeing on a daily basis was skyrocketing because
I can't imagine.
Oh, they're coughing. Well, that's a symptom. We got to send them home, and then looking at, oh, now you're out for 14 days if you don't want to get tested, just...
Can you talk about was it hard to track all that? This kid's been out for 7 or this kid's
Contact
been out...
tracing. I hate that phrase.
Yes. And it was, thank God we had some just papers that we would help keep track of everything.
Oh, that's good.
Documentation was a huge part. And I felt it got overwhelming because I would document it charting, and then I would document it on another paper, and then I would document it so my school secretary would know, hey, this kid can't return until this day, so they're out. Then I would document it in an email to the teacher saying, this student's out, can't come back.
So many moving parts.
So,
for everybody.
that was just a lot, you know. And here, a lot of it was like, oh, they were all in the same room. We're
Everybody's
just
going home.
they're going home. You
Yep.
know, at K
Well,
through 2,
yeah,
you're
so
all
close
over each other.
contact
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So
For
that
sure.
was definitely a big part, and just the constant changing of everything. You know, one week it was, this is what we're gonna do. The next week it was like, oh, we
New
don't think that's
protocols,
working.
yeah.
So that was really hard.
So
but-
has there been any protocols or anything like that that's permanently changed since COVID hit? Like that now we for sure do because of the pandemic or something, or kind of, I don't know.
If you had asked me last year, yes, we were still doing some of that. However, earlier this year, they kind of just, we're done. Like,
Right.
we're not going to
It doesn't
do.
exist anymore.
Yeah,
But it
I
does.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and so
That's what they're telling us, yeah.
we don't. There's nothing really that has permanently changed. Thank goodness with
Okay.
COVID. So
That's kind of interesting, just because of how much did change and how
right,
worldwide it was so serious, and then now it's kind of faded out. Not that it's not serious, because
Right.
COVID still is serious, but just that there hasn't been some.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm thinking back from that transition into school nursing and hitting COVID head on. What lessons have you learned about school health and student wellness that maybe like a takeaway from that whole transition?
Well, I can say school nurses play a huge role. I hate to say this in a bad way, but I sometimes feel people are like, "Oh, you're just a school nurse. Like
You're just giving out Band-Aids.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
just a mom. You're just
You're
a
just dealing with
Band-Aid.
puke and
Yeah,
lice.
Yeah,
right.
that's all
and
they
we do. But
And guess what? You didn't even mention lice as one of the
Yeah,
top
yeah.
reasons people come down.
Yeah.
So
But I don't know. That was a big, like, just the whole, again, all the contact tracing, all the hours. I cannot even begin to tell you the late nights, the every weekend, the
Yeah.
early mornings I was working during COVID, and just how important it is for the school nurse and what she was doing at that time.
Absolutely.
So,
It was definitely consuming, and moving now past COVID, what are some of the biggest health challenges facing our elementary schools today? Like I know measles is pumping its way
Yeah,
back
right.
into
Yeah,
right.
the media, and there's a big concern about those kind of outbreaks. What are some of the biggest challenges you see facing our students?
well, I think like this year, we noticed a lot of kids. Influenza A was
Oh,
big.
man.
It
We have
was
had tons.
It was
Yeah.
huge this year, and unfortunately, we are seeing the same kids who were kind of affected by COVID, who seem to just get more sick. If that's how, I mean, and it's the same poor kids over and over. Like they're out for influenza, then they're out for a sinus infection, then they're out for ear, and they just, I don't know, keep re-getting the same stuff, and it's the same kids. And I just think, in my personal opinion, when we were younger, we played outside all the time.
Yeah.
Physically active, always out doing stuff. And I just think kids now are more prone to injury, more prone to illness.
Right.
And I don't know if part of that is just with us shutting down for the world of COVID,
it's
or
definitely changed some things,
Yeah.
I think. So kind of going on with that, like what are some tips that maybe you can share with parents or anyone listening about helping prepare their kids to stay healthy in school? Especially these new kiddos, our kindergartners that are coming in maybe for the first time. Maybe they haven't been around kids very much at all. What are some tips that, to help them kind of get their immune system built up and just kind of get them ready?
And, you kind of hit it. It just takes some time, obviously, to get your immune system built up, especially if they've not been in preschool or daycare. I mean, coming here, it is a germ-infested pool, and you are going to get it. So my biggest thing is definitely hand washing, hand washing, hand washing.
Yes.
I can't stress that enough.
Yes.
Over hand wash if you have to. I think a good night's sleep is really important for our kids, too. And a balanced diet. Sounds crazy, but it helps. All of those can help. And I'm not saying your kids aren't going to get anything, but I feel that
Right,
helps
absolutely.
with keeping them healthy.
Yeah,
So.
definitely.
Let's hear from you. We've kind of shared a couple of funny things, but what's the most unexpected reason a student has come to see you in these last few years?
Forgot undergarments in the morning.
Like
Yes.
not wearing them to
Not
school?
wearing them.
Like, do
What?
you have a pair of underwear I can borrow?
Because
I forgot to put mine on
forgot
today.
to wear underwear. We've actually had a couple kids that's
Yeah.
been the reason.
Yeah.
And they just look at you like it's not really that big a
Big
deal.
Right.
They
And I'm
just
thinking they're looking like that's not really a school nurse issue,
Well,
but it becomes one very
it
quickly.
Right.
becomes
I
one.
mean, that
But
would
yeah.
probably be the funniest. Like, and have to say I do laugh. Like, okay,
Yes,
well,
that's-
let me hook you up. So,
Wow.
Because they just say it in the most straight face.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's nothing to them.
hey, do you, I just forgot to put them on.
Yeah.
and I try to be accommodating. Like, I will ask them, like, do you wear whitey tighties? Like, do you wear boxers? And then they're
How do
like,
you not laugh at that?
I don't know. So,
Yeah, interesting.
So, kind of sticking with those funny, are there any myths or misconceptions kids have about the nurse's office?
I would say the number one is they think I'm a doctor, and I am not a
Interesting.
doctor.
I would just tell them you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No.
Dr.
I
Woods.
play one on TV.
I play one on TV.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I was once, so. Dr.
But I
Woods.
can cure all if I'm the doctor.
Exactly, that's true.
And you've had what was the student here this year that will say, like, you're not a real nurse, right? Or,
Yes, I do have a kid who will
yeah.
tell me that I am not a real nurse, and did I really go to school?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yikes.
No, I went
But for no real reason. Like, you're just.
went on Amazon, printed out a certificate.
Yeah.
Paid
I just wear the
$12.99.
scrubs because they're comfy. Like,
Yeah.
do you have to wear scrubs? That's a good question.
No, I
That is a
don't.
good question.
I started to wear scrubs when I started, just especially during COVID. I could go home, take them off, put them in the washer,
Absolutely.
and I'm not ruining my clothes by,
That's-
I never know what bodily fluids I might go home with at the end of the day, and so
Isn't that it?
this is
You
just
never know.
That's why I
Yeah.
wear them, and they're comfortable. I can just
gosh.
squeeze into
I like that.
scrub pants and
I think we should all wear scrub pants. Like,
sure.
I think I pretty much am
You
wearing scrub
kinda
pants
are.
today, so
jeez,
yeah,
slacker.
it's all right.
Hey, I want to jump into our favorite part of. I mean,
Natalie knows it. Okay, I just want to shout out to Natalie right now because our guest today, she has listened to every single episode we've ever
Nice.
put out. Round of applause for Natalie.
Nice.
So she knows what's coming up.
well, it's been fun for the evolution of interventions and detention because I don't feel like we did rapid fire questions in the
No.
first few episodes, and I don't know
Absolutely
where
not.
they kind of worked their
Love
way
them.
in, but they're here and they're
Love
here to
them.
stay.
She's ready.
And
She's
we're gonna
kind of
keep
pacing
going,
around.
so-
She's kind of nervous about them.
I want to go first. Can I go first?
Okay, Brett.
Favorite crayon color?
Teal.
Teal. See, I thought it would be red because nurses love to draw blood.
Oh,
I think that actually is a misconception, though. I don't think you, as a school nurse, draw blood.
correct.
But
Oh.
there might be some kids that think. I mean, I like to
Absolutely.
mess with kids when they come down. Like, Mr. T, you want to get my surgical kit out and I can chop that arm off?
Oh,
or-
yeah, I brought my scissors so I can
Yeah.
cut. Does your leg need to come off?
Exactly.
And they look at you like,
no.
but it does get their mind kind of off of
Yes.
the injury for a minute, so it is kind of funny.
So teal's the color. Okay.
Okay, favorite childhood sick day activity?
Couch, Sprite, and Price is Right.
Ooh!
Yes. Me too.
Mine too!
Yep.
Not
But
Sprite, maybe.
oh yeah.
If you
Sometimes
were si-
Coca-Cola.
If you were sick, I
Yeah,
guess,
because it was
Sprite.
always 7-Up or Sprite.
Price is Right, though.
But we're talking
Always.
Bob Barker, Price
Yes,
is Right.
yes.
No,
That's-
I'm not talking the new one.
No.
No, Bob Barker.
Bob
Price
Barker.
is Right.
All
Okay,
the
that was
way.
a good one.
All right. Go-to remedy for the common cold for Nurse Natalie.
Fluids, increased vitamin C, rest, and essential oils.
That was.
What essential oils do you recommend?
Ooh.
My favorite are thieves,
Thieves.
lavender,
Love thieves. Yes.
peppermint,
Yes.
lemon.
You
Okay.
do love. You told me today you love lemon.
I love
Okay.
lemon.
I love that.
Okay.
If you had to choose Band-Aids or ice packs,
Band-Aids.
why?
Band-Aids can cover blood.
Fair.
Okay. Fair
Ice
enough.
packs cannot. That's my only reason.
Okay.
And it's probably about split when kids come in. If they want a Band-Aid or they just want ice. Either one is
Okay.
a help or heal. I
Okay.
mean,
Okay.
healing
Something
here.
gives them comfort. So.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, if we were to walk down to your office right now and have you find the strangest item in your office, maybe it's not even nurse related. What would it be?
What's in?
A baseball bat.
Okay, and I'm going to ask why.
Why?
Actually, I have it in case we ever have an intruder. It is
That's
one
what I would
thing
assume.
I can use
I have one in my classroom too.
to just protect myself in the
Okay.
front office. So
I love that.
Well, okay. I was going to say, have you ever had to use that on Chuck before at home?
no, no, he has used it to kill rodents, but
The same one? Oh my gosh! I
Clean
hope
that
you
baby
clean
off
that.
before you bring it in.
Wipe
oh my
that
gosh.
off.
That's awesome. Way to go, Chuck. Shout out
Thank
to
you.
Chuck.
Shout out to Chuck. All right. If this one is hard because we talked about this earlier.
Yes.
If you weren't a school nurse, what job would you have? You love the school nurse gig, so what would you do?
So it's funny. As a kid, I wrote down I wanted to be a banker or a mom. I've succeeded on the mom.
Okay,
Right.
you're a
Or,
mom. You're
I
a
mean,
good mom, yeah.
you know, I don't know that I want to be a banker, but I don't know. I really did love pharmacy, and I had
Okay.
a few beg me to go back to pharmacy school, but
Yeah,
after doing nursing school for 4 years, I was like, I'm done with
I'm
school.
done,
So
yeah.
I don't blame
maybe
you.
that.
I don't blame you.
Okay.
What's the funniest excuse a kid has given you to try to get home early?
I can
So
only imagine.
I'm gonna tell them myself here.
Uh-oh. Is this your story?
Yes, this is my
From when you were
story.
a kid?
Yes, yeah.
Here we go.
So,
Yes.
Let's go.
I remember in first grade, my mom had surgery, so she was home. Which my mom was home all the time anyway, because she was a babysitter. So
Okay.
anyway, and I remember in first grade, she was home having, be recovering from surgery. I had a long-term sub because my teacher was home on maternity leave.
Okay.
And I wanted to go home and be with my mom. So I shoved a pencil up my nose and
Natalie.
made myself bleed. So
Like,
I
you
could
didn't
go
even just
home.
make it up. You
No,
just did
I
it.
did
You
it.
didn't say, hey, I shoved
Yeah.
a pencil up my nose. See, no.
Yeah,
You
no,
Wow.
I just, yeah.
That's
Did you
hardcore.
walk down to the nurse stuff with the pencil
Well, I
stuck
told
up your
my
nose?
teacher, and she was kind of like, yeah, well, get a tissue. Back when I was in school, we didn't have a nurse in every building. Again,
She
we
sounds like
yeah.
a nurse right there.
Like, you'll be fine. Like, but I want to go home. Well,
So she
Wow.
knew your trick.
That's-
She knew you
guess
shoved
so.
it. She probably
Yeah.
watched
I
you
don't
shove it up.
think I could do
That's
that.
dedication.
Yeah.
No, you'd be crying and bleeding
I mean,
everywhere.
it's not a proud moment, but it is.
Wow.
We might have to end the podcast right there. I don't even know if we can continue.
We should have put that last
Wow,
rapid
I
fire
had no
question.
idea.
Wow.
Cookie or brownie? If you had
Brownie.
to pick. Ooh, either way, I'm sure you're feeling crummy after eating one.
Bum, bum, bum.
These weren't that good.
They
Brad.
were not good
I
jokes,
asked
but we had to
Brad
sneak them in there.
Come up with some nurse jokes and not
Yeah.
great today.
How many times a day do you think you say, you're fine, go back to class?
Probably a lot more in my head than I actually tell the kids.
That's probably a safer bet.
That's probably
but
safe, but
Yeah.
I will say, I think we all say
We
that
do.
sometimes.
I mean, and I've probably said too, like, suck it up. You're going to be fine. I
Yep.
know I've said that a few
Yeah.
times, but I try not to
Yeah.
at K through 2. So,
Ooh, if you could have one superpower to help with your job, what would it be?
healing power.
Ooh.
Okay, makes sense, yeah. Like you could just wave your hand over somebody
Oh, your
and
tummy ache is gone.
the bleeding stops, the
Yeah.
aches go away.
Okay.
I
The
like
pencil
it.
gets out of your nose and the rock and you get underwear. Okay.
Boom, here they are. Favorite TV or movie Dr. Nurse character?
Well, I was a huge ER fan, so I'm going to
Yes.
have to say Abby Lockhart from ER.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Lockhart, yeah. Or
Do you
Nurse
like
Lockhart.
watching nurse and doctor shows? Like I know some nurses are like, that's not real. Like,
Yeah,
do you like it or does
There
it
are a
turn you
few
off? Or?
I do watch, but I'm not a big TV watcher to begin with. So.
Alright.
Do you critique them? Because, like, I know Sherry, and I'll throw her under the bus. When she'll watch it, she gets into the medical shows, but she'll also dispute, like, oh, no, that's not the right terminology, or that's not the right diagnosis, or that's not the right treatment, and kind of...
Shout out to
Yes,
Do you do
Sherry
stuff
yes,
like that
I
too?
do. And my kids
Yeah.
are like, stop ruining the show, Mom.
It's just a
Just
show.
watch it.
That's funny.
That sounds about right to me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it.
All right. Well, I think we're almost to that time, Brad.
I think we are almost to that time. We
All right.
want to thank
Oh,
Nurse Natalie for being here today and
We sure
sharing
do.
just a little bit of what she does on a day-to-day basis. I mean, it's an adventure. It's not typical every day.
No.
Some days are quiet, some days are crazy, but we appreciate her being here and being a
Absolutely.
part of our team
Yeah.
every single day.
Do you have any final advice you want to give for students, parents, teachers, anything? Something just to kind of sum it all up.
Number one, I'm not a walk-in clinic.
Okay.
I have a lot of kids.
Was that a shout out to the teachers or the kids? I'm not sure.
Sure.
Well, I have a lot of kids who
Or
come
the
in and
substitute
Or the
say,
substitute teachers.
I haven't felt good. Did you tell Mom? What'd she say? Go see the school nurse. Okay,
Ooh.
well, there's nothing I can do for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's true.
so I'm just,
Right.
I don't know. I'm here to help, but I am not a walk-in clinic.
Okay.
I don't
I
have an
think that's
X-ray
fair.
machine, but
That's
I
true.
will do my
you
best.
You don't dispense meds like it's candy. I get
Right.
that.
No,
Okay.
In our current state of health insurance, I could see why parents might say,
Yes.
hey, go
I
see
get
Nurse
that.
Natalie.
Yes, I get
Save
it.
me my $25 copay.
Yep.
Yes.
What do you think?
Well, is there any place, we kind of like to do this too with some of our guests, is there any place that listeners could go to learn more about school health, just health and wellness in general? Is there any good websites, anything that you would recommend in case people have questions?
I like the DOE.
Okay.
They
The
have
Department of Education.
Yes, they have a great school health.
I didn't even know
The
that.
website you can go to it's amazing. I have it printed out. It's a lot of pages, but you can go on and look up any illness, any disease,
Really?
and it will give you
Wow.
everything about it.
That's
so that's
cool.
a really good website, and
Awesome.
it's come in handy a lot for me.
Okay.
I'll have to check it out.
It's printed in my office. Just
Nice.
walk
Yes,
in
you
and grab
will.
the
Probably
book.
as an administrator. I think I did know that was there, but I've never really needed to use it. I
Right.
mean, I rely
Because
on
you trust and rely on
That's right.
Nurse Natalie.
our
So
Nurse Natalie to take care of those things, and we appreciate that. Thanks again, Natalie, for being here and being a part of the
and being
pod
a
this
great
week.
listener.
And a great listener,
A
too.
great pod listener. We
Yep.
appreciate that.
We
Thanks
do
for
encourage
having me.
listeners, if there's any school nurses out there that are listening, give us some feedback. Give us some of your funny stories. You can share that on our Facebook post or to the Podbean. I think you can comment there. You can find us on pretty much every platform these days. We are out there. We're on
We're out
Spotify. We are on
Apple Music,
We're on.
iHeartRadio,
We're on.
Podbean,
And YouTube.
And YouTube.
There's some other.
If you Google us, Interventions and Detentions Pod,
Boom.
it will come up. So
we will be there. So
listen in.
we appreciate you tuning in every week. We know some episodes are better than others.
But we
Maybe.
appreciate you sticking with us. No, they're all good, Brad.
They are all good. Next week episode? Oh, come on. I think we're going to look at Kinderforest.
Yes,
and
we
have another
are.
special guest of Jody Jordan, one of our kindergarten teachers.
Yes, we are. But actually, it'll be a week hiatus.
Yeah, because we're coming upon the spring break hour here pretty soon.
Yep, so 2 weeks from now,
we will be back with another episode, and that'll be episode 117. 117.
Talking about Kinderforest, which is a very cool program we have here at Central.
Excited to share about that. So thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your spring break, as we will too. And it's that time, Kylie.
All right, class dismissed.